Hello. Right, I'd like to talk more about self-inquiry. I mentioned it in another video. I want to just drill down a bit more on how that process started for me. A lot of the time when I'm talking in my videos or with people, I'm usually I'm relating to experiences that are mine because they're more relatable and they're more authentic. So, what happened with me about 2.5, 3 years ago, my marriage broke up, and I've got two children, and that was a time when I was probably my lowest. I was at I consider rock bottom, and this situation happened. I was away with a friend up in out of town, and we're sitting there chatting, and then this other guy came along, and this other guy had been divorced about 5 years. And he gave me this real pearl of wisdom. He said to me, it's going to take 2 or 3 years it's going to take at least 2 years to get over this and for the baggage to go from this situation. He said, if I can give you 2 bits of advice, this is number 1, learn to love yourself again. And number 2 is be the best version of yourself. And when I say be the best version of yourself, say hello to Roops. When I say be the best version of yourself, be the best friend, the best brother, the best son, the best dad. More importantly, the best ex. Because make sure that you show up with a straight head and not get into these toxic battles. And those 2 bits of wisdom just really rung true with me. Although, when he said, learn to love yourself again, I was like, just come out of an 18-year relationship, like a marriage. I didn't have a clue how I was going to love myself again. I didn't love myself at all at that time. But I knew what he was saying. What he said rung so true with my instinct and my intuition. I knew that that's what I had to do. And so I left that. On the way after that, I just had to work out how I was going to do that. And all I could do was use positivity. So I used positivity as a tool. And at this time 2 years ago, I hadn't studied what I've studied now. I don't know what I know now. I just knew that I was in this really hard rock bottom place, and to get out of it, I knew the power of thought was strong, and I knew that I just had to think positively. And I didn't care what anyone else thought about that. I just had to think positively, and I had to be the best version of me I could be. So I had to, every time I spoke to my wife, my ex, I always done so with the best will and most respect and dignity, and as I did with anyone I spoke to. But I never got bitter and negative. So one topic, for the first tip is learn to love yourself. Self-love is the biggest topic on the path of self-inquiry. It's huge. It's so important what you see, what you hear, what you speak, what you think, what you read, what you text. All these things are so important to your senses. If you all those things that you hear, see, read, text are negative, are bad, are damaging, they have a huge effect on your well-being, a massive effect. So if you want to raise your vibration or heal or just develop or just grow, you need to really, really work on self-love and learn to love yourself again. And remember, the power of thought is so strong. You are the one who's got control of that. You don't have to look elsewhere for that. It's not external. You have to. Don't need someone to tell you how great you are. You need to look within to find out how great you are. And that's where the gratitude and the appreciation comes from. People can fluff your pillows or can say great things about you, and it's fantastic. But what really matters is what you think about yourself. You have to look inwards and really be grateful for the person you are, because that's all that matters. You can't learn to love yourself by someone saying you're great. You need to, or you can't look elsewhere for that gratitude. You can't look for that. You have to look within. And first, when you first look, it's not there. But the more positive you are, the more appreciative you are, the more you realise that life is going to be good, life's going to be fine. The more you become positive and grateful for the person you are. And the second tip, if I want to talk more about that, is be the best version of you can be. And the two are connected. You do one, once you do one, you've got the other. It's always your choice of how you show up to any situation. You don't have to react to someone who's not showing up in the right way. It's always your choice. You can have a bad day, you can have a bad week, you can have a bad hour, whatever. But it's your choice of when you stop feeling like, when you stop letting that affect your behaviour. We all have bad times. We all have bad situations. And we all deal with them in different ways. But the one thing that's clear, is that we control how we react to those situations. No one else. It's not anyone else's situation. It's ours. So that means we are responsible for how we show up. And like I said, so he said, be the best version of yourself. And like I said, that means be the best dad, be the best son, be the best brother, be the best friend, but most importantly, be the best ex, because that's how you're going to get through a marriage breakup and divorce in the best way. So if you and your ex can operate on a sensible level where you're not arguing and not being toxic to one another, it just makes the whole thing a lot easier. And that resonated with me as well, and I just completely made that happen. Like I say, this started 2.5 years ago. This meeting with this guy was about 2.5 years ago, and it was amazing. So, and I just had to be aware of that. That was all to do that. I just had to be aware that was my responsibility. And once I got that awareness, once that penny's dropped, I know that that's down to me. Because believe me, not doing that just means that you're going to get more and more depressed. That means you're going to get when you're not showing up in the right way. That affects your life. That affects your children. That affects everyone around you. And that affects your well-being. So you have to have that awareness that you have the choice to act and behave how you want to be. And it all starts with, like I say, with self-love, with positivity, with awareness. And the results of that, of behaving like that, and of having that awareness and having that mindfulness, for me, has just been phenomenal. My life is now 10 times better than it was at that point. You know, I'm in a much, much better place. I don't hold any resentment. I'm not angry. I'm not bitter. I'm not low. I'm in a very high place. And I've got a great life, a wonderful life. And my children are in a fantastic place, and I get on absolutely brilliantly with my ex. And it's just, there's no issue at all. But it's all down to mind control. And having that mind control is so important, and it means that you can go forward in life and create in life. And it's not. It doesn't. You don't have to have been through a marriage breakup for this to happen. You just have to have awareness. Like I said in another video, you need to create awareness, and you need to create awareness that you want to improve or you want to grow. If you don't, if you live in a, if you've got that awareness and you've got that self gratitude and you've got that self love, and you are the best version of yourself, then great. That's fantastic. That is brilliant, actually. But if you're looking to improve, if you're looking for another way of life, consider that. Consider growing that awareness, and consider that self-love as that first step, and being the best version of yourself. This is a long journey. I'm just talking to you about how this started for me, and I'll delve into these areas in more detail. But that's the start. That was the start of the journey, and the place that's got to me is to a very peaceful mind, a very good place in my life, very clear, real clarity, real control over my mind. Not always, not always. It's not always perfect. In fact, sometimes it's quite hard, but I've got the tools now to deal with those situations. I've got the awareness now to deal with those situations. But learn to love yourself. Be the best version of yourself you can be. Take care. Have a good day.